Alright, welcome back to another NAC audio tip vid. Here we go. Today we'll learn how to mix a band and just some good little pointers on that. So what we're going to have today in the band is we're going to have some drums, we're going to have a bass guitar, we're going to have acoustic guitar, and we're going to have an electric guitar, and we're going to have 3 vocal mics happening at the same time as well. So that's what we have in the mix. I'm just going to get rid of everything else that we have happening. And this is the mix that you have going. So band comes in, they do their practice, whatever it might be, and you want to try and adjust these levels as much as possible, and you as the audio person, you want to be on top of making them sound good. The band members can play really well, but if they're mixed poorly, it's just really not going to help anyone out. I will point out as well, just for the band, you've got the band mute button that will mute all of the instruments, the vocal mute button that'll mute all the vocal mics. You can see them all flashing over there. And here you have the Vox reverb mute and acoustic reverb mute. This is just a very light reverb that you can turn on and off for the vocals or the acoustic. I'd recommend having them on, but if there's a time where you're using the vocal mics for an interview, for example, there's going to be a slight little bit of reverb in there and it's going to sound a little bit funny. So you just want to turn that off, so if you had an interview or the vocal mics being used for something else. Most of the time though, keep both of those not red, so essentially unmuted, and it'll just make it sound a little bit prettier. Things to focus on while you're doing the mix. I would suggest you as a sound guy try to sing along, and if you can't hear yourself as you sing along, it's probably too loud. One of 2 things you can do there. You can bring down the main mix just a little bit, and then just keep going from there. Sometimes the instruments will need to turn down. The electric guitar amp might be absolutely blaring, so even though you have it all the way down here, it's still going to be way too loud. So yeah, try a couple of things just to bring it down a little bit. It's always easier to make it loud, it's harder to make it softer. Thing to focus on as well, can you hear the vocals? Is there someone who's a stronger singer than everyone else? Often that's the reality. You probably want to have those people a little bit loud, that person a little bit louder than say the other people who aren't as confident at singing. It just makes the mix sound that much more pleasant for everyone else in the congregation as the singers are leading. Other things to focus on, I normally like to go through channel by channel, just in my head with no headphones on, and just think to myself as I listen to the band play, can I hear the electric guitar and what it's playing? In a couple of different parts, the chorus it might be louder, verse it might be softer, etc. And adjust that up and down until you can at least hear it in the mix. Same for the acoustic guitar, can you hear it, can you not? Bass and drums. You're always going to hear the drums coming through, but what I'd recommend is moving across, stand over here while the band is playing, and see if you can hear the drums coming through the overhead speakers here while you're standing over here. If you can, then that's good. The drums are coming through and these people are getting a little bit of extra drum fill coming from the speakers down to where they are, rather than the drums sound coming all the way over. It's a little bit of fill, not too much, but that's just something to help you focus on. It is good. I would recommend that you move around the room during band practice. Go stand here. Can you hear all the instruments, what they're playing? Can you hear the vocalists, all of that? Stand in the middle. Can you hear the same thing? Do things need adjusting? Up and down. Focus on every instrument as you're sitting there, standing there. You might need to adjust it. Go over here. Go stand over by the door. And just make your adjustments from there, just so you get a relatively good mix in different spots. And I would also suggest do that once or twice. You don't have to walk around too much and be distracting, but do that as well while the service is happening. As soon as you fill this whole room with people, the audio changes in the whole space. People soak up sound naturally, just with the clothing and all of that. It just soaks up sound, and it's going to sound quite different. So do your quick little walk, go stand over here, just wander up around the back, have a listen, focus on each of those instruments, focus on the singers, try and sing along. If you can't hear yourself, again, it's too loud, maybe we need to bring things down a little bit. Stuff like that. You don't want the instruments going louder than the vocalists. The vocalists should be the main ones that you hear. Anyway, so if you know how to use the iPad, you can use that to mix remotely. I won't go through with that one right now, but you can do that. Otherwise, walk over to your spot, be like, oh, that needs adjusting. Come over here, make the adjustment, walk back over, see how it sounds. And then once the band's done, just make sure that you mute them at the end so they're not buzzing or anything like that. as the rest of the service happens. Anyway, hope you found that helpful, and I'll catch you again soon.